Do you have a classroom with multiple ages and just need some inspiration on how to bring everybody around the table? Or maybe you're like me and you're a homeschool mom with different grade levels and are always looking for that creativity on how to get everybody around the table together, which saves you a lot of time. Well, in this video, I want to show you how I do combined lesson plans with 3 different levels. And it's just a building one concept upon another on the same topic, going from preschool, laying the foundation very simply, building on top of it with a kindergarten structure, and then adding some more to it with the 2nd grade work and concepts. And it's just a really fun time around the table. So what's great about this, what I love about this, is that it is getting everybody engaged in the learning process. And even though some of the concepts in the 2nd grade work are going to be well over the head of the preschooler and even the kindergartner at times, they are still there. They are hearing it, they're soaking it up, they're learning it as well. I mean, don't you know that the kids are like a sponge, right? They soak up so much stuff and they are learning so much even when they are so little. So I'm going to take you through that. I want to invite you into our schoolroom to see how we sit around the table together. We do these combined lesson plans together. And another thing that I think is probably the best about this particular combined lesson plans with the different ages is that it saves mom or teacher, whoever you are, a lot of time. And we moms, we need extra time whenever we can get it, right? So if you're interested in knowing how to do these combined lesson plans, come on over to my schoolroom and let's check it out together. All right, welcome to our schoolroom. You can see that I've got all 5 of my daughters here. We're getting ready to do the lesson plan on clocks. So what you're going to need is 4 mystery bags. I got these at the dollar store, and I went ahead and just placed on each bag a number 1 through 4. So you will right away bring out the number 1 and get them excited. Let's see what's in this bag. And simply you're going to pull out foam circles. However size you want to make those is fine. And then just do a little introduction of, okay, we're talking about clocks today, and the shape of a clock is a circle. So we begin by starting off in the preschool setting. As you can see, I have really young preschoolers, so twins that are 2 and 18 months old. So we start very basic. We talk about the circle. We repeat that it's a circle. We do a lot of preschool elements at the beginning. So now I'm asking them about their circle, and I say, in order to open the next mystery bag, you need to tell me what color your circle is. So now we're bringing in some color as well, and they are doing great with that. Just kind of getting the 18-month-old excited about this and just doing it as well. And as you can see, even my 2nd grader and my kindergartner, they're engaged. They're not like, oh, this is boring, Mom. They're there with us. So they answered those questions correctly, and now we go to number 2. So we're identifying the 2. We are going to open that up and discover what is in that. It's good to make that as exciting as you can. I mean, kids love it. Kids love not knowing what it is and watching it come out of the bag. So what you're going to take out of that 2nd bag is some more foam circles, 1 for each person. And this time you're going to make a note that the circles now have numbers on them. So this is the numbers of the clock. So pass 1 out to each person. And then you're going to just go over the numbers. You're going to be identifying how many there are, and I mean, obviously just going around counting with it. This, I would say, is kind of, the bridge between preschool and kindergarten. We're still kind of focused on the preschool at this point. So here we go, all the way around the clock numbers. So what I went ahead and did is I made the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9 a little bit bigger and in a different color. So the rest of the numbers were all black, but those special numbers were in red. And so here I'm going to go ahead and explain that those numbers are a little more significant on the clock. So in the second grade book, it really starts to break it down into the fourths, the 15, 30, and 45 minutes. So I just figured that was a great introduction for the littles on knowing that those numbers are significant. We don't need to exactly know why yet, but they can have a visual and they can have the introduction to those numbers as being a little bit more important in a certain way of what we're going to learn in the future. So now I'm introducing the concept of clockwise. So I have everybody raise their right hand and we're going to go in a circle clockwise. And this, I would say, did not work as well. They had a harder time doing the circle around the clock. So if I were to do this again, I would say, let's not do that. Let's just raise our finger or raise our hand like I started it out, and let's do clockwise in the air. So I believe that is going to come up here in a second where we do clockwise. Here we go. Yes, in the air. So raise your finger and let's take it around to the right. And of course, if you're facing them opposite, you want to do it the opposite way so they can be doing it, following you the right way. So now you're going to say, in order for us to open our mystery bag number 3, I have a couple more questions. There will be questions for the preschoolers once again, and then questions for kindergarten. So the question for preschool is, how many circles do you have? So there they are, identifying the 2 circles that they have. Once again, I have young preschoolers, so we are laying a foundation very simply with them. So now moving on to the kindergarten question, I ask her to tell me how many numbers are on the clock. She gets that easy, so then I ask, what is it called when we're moving in the direction? That's what we just talked about. She says clockwise. So here we go to mystery bag number 3. And inside mystery bag number 3 is going to be something extra special for preschool, because I recognize that they are starting to get a little antsy, starting to get a little bit ready to move on to other things. So out comes, of course, some more foam circles. Now this time it has all the numbers, just normal, all in black, but then we also have the hands or the arrows on them. So this is where we are going to be talking about what those are. So definitely moving on from preschool at this point into the kindergarten and older grades. And I'd like to take a little time to note our table, which is really low to the ground. And I love this because we're not dealing with all of the chairs. They are free to kind of get up and move around, the little ones especially. So I really enjoy that. It saves us a lot of space in our room as well. So out is coming the pipe cleaners, just giving them something to do as we move on to the older parts of the lesson. So they're getting a pipe cleaner and they will get some beads. Now, if you're worried about 18 months with beads, please omit this step. I know mine does pretty well as she watches her older ones. So it's just good to have something in there they can do. Okay, so Vashti and I are, and you can jump in if you can, Haven, are going to skip count around for the minutes. Ready? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So So as you just saw, we took a moment at the very start of this to talk about skip counting around, that each little increment around the 12 numbers is a skip count by 5. So we went ahead and practiced that. I would say that's something that my kindergartner is still learning, but is also something that obviously the second grader knows well, so we just practice doing that. And then for the rest of bag number 3 is going to be practice. So the little ones have got their stuff they're doing, and now the second grader is going to just be practicing telling time. And the kindergartner, what I just so enjoy about this is she just watches, she just observes, and she follows along, which there's so much learning going on there. Just from my own experience, she has excelled so much just by watching her older sister. So I've got this stack of clocks with different times, and I have her just tell me each of those times. And then I say, that is what unlocks bag number 4. All right, so in my opinion, I believe that bag number 4 of mystery bags, if you're going to do it like this, needs to be some kind of reward. So they finally got to the end. You're going to be rewarding them for a good job they did. So each of them are getting a sticker at this point. And then what is going to come out of the bag is more pipe cleaners for the bigger girls and more beads that we can now be all together making a little bracelet out of these things and just having a good time together and enjoying a job well done with the combined lesson. So what we do from here is we will now break into 2 groups. I will have the little ones stay at this small table. I will take the older ones into the kitchen table, and we will now do our book work, our written work. We will go into more depth, one-on-one with them. And I also want to make a couple notes about this. As you notice, more than half of my kids are under 3 and really young. So I do kind of focus a little bit more on those ages, but you feel free to make this your own and embellish it to suit your family. Some ways that you could do that is more time telling practice for first or second grade. Maybe you make some clocks with some hands that are movable. I was going to do that, but thought about how toddlers would rip that in 2.3 seconds. So, but if you have some older ones, you can make clocks a lot more, or buy them a lot more advanced, where you can tell them a time, they can make the time, and things like that. Or for kindergarten, you could make your clocks with missing numbers, and then as you're going around, they can go ahead and tell you what numbers are missing. So those are just some ideas to where you can have the older grades a little bit heavier than, say, what I did with the preschool being a little heavier in this lesson plan. You feel free, you make it how you want to make it. I just want to inspire you to get creative around the table all together learning. Well, this brings us to the end of our lesson. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that it has given you some creative ideas for your kids in your schoolroom.